What is up, guys? Alice here, and yeah, we lost again. So today we had Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Obviously, Chelsea and us are the only undefeated teams in the league at the moment, and our overall performance was disappointing. So to start off with, we had a good start with attacking football. I know I said it was disappointing, but we had some good attacking football at several points, but we just couldn't get that final touch. We kept on trying to play that perfect ball instead of getting a scruffy goal, which is something we don't need. Um, Chelsea sat back for a while, then they started attacking. There was a few incidents in the game, which I'll go through now, leading up to the goal. Gary Cahill's tackle on Sanchez, which I generally thought was a red card. Now, several of you are probably thinking you're just being biased. Well, no, because I think Arsenal shouldn't have ended the match with 11 players on the field as well. I think we could have could have been down to around 9 players at one point. So what happened after that? Cam Chambers made a tackle a couple of minutes later, which was a yellow card was given, and Gary Cahill was given a yellow card as well, by the way. But it wasn't as bad as Gary Cahill's tackle, which was quite annoying because Gary Cahill went in 2-footed with his studs up, and it was a bit nasty. It was, but he got away with it. And Cam Chambers just pushed Hazard, who Hazard basically destroyed Chambers on that wing tonight. Tonight, yeah. And so Cam Chambers was booked from that, and after that he made a couple of edgy tackles, really, which really could have resulted in him being sent off. So he got really lucky as well. But then the goal come after a penalty was conceded by Laurent Koscielny, which was it should have been a red card. It was a clear penalty. It was a goal scoring opportunity for Hazard, and it was just Koscielny can call himself lucky for being on the pitch after that. So Hazard scored from that penalty really neatly, bottom right corner. And after that, we sort of didn't shut off. We went for it a bit more. It was a sort of good performance, but it was so disappointing in front of goal because we were trying to play fantastic passing football instead of being scruffy. And that's what's getting on my nerves about Arsenal. We were trying to play that perfect ball. And Ozil, who's been great the last 2 games, had a howler tonight. But everybody was pinpointing Ozil for the reason we lost the game, which really annoyed me. Because Ozil wasn't the only bad player. I'll get more into that in a couple of minutes. But so we went into half time sort of with a couple of positives. We were playing very good attacking, but then we come out and we sort of controlled a vast majority of the second half. They had some very mean counter attacks, and one thing that sort of really annoyed me in the game was that Oscar wasn't booked until the 86th minute. And I honestly think Oscar should have been booked a lot earlier than that. He made about 4 or 5 tackles in the game, which I was very surprised he didn't get booked for after like the third, because even Martin Atkinson pointed out that he made 3 tackles by the first half. Fouls, sorry, I mean. And it was quite annoying that he didn't get booked, but then Diego Costa then scored a wonderful goal after a few wasted chances by us, and it was fantastic. It was from a counter. It was, as usual, Chelsea have been fantastic on the counter, and Fabregas just picked up the ball from inside his own half, and he blasted it to Diego Costa, and Mertesacker and Koscielny just fell asleep, and they're supposed to be top Premier League defenders, and they just let Costa slip through like it was Sunday League football. And he scored a fantastic chip because Szczesny, for some reason, decided to charge out, knowing that Costa's a clinical shooter, and he charged out a bit too fast, and obviously Diego Costa scored. And a couple of minutes later, this is why we shouldn't have ended the match with at least, at least 9 men on the pitch, because Danny Welbeck just literally 2-footed Fabregas. Fabregas was right next to the touchline, and Danny Welbeck just comes in, 2 foots him, and it was like, wow. I know he's a striker, but it was a pure striker's tackle, and it was like he should have been off. I'll agree with most Chelsea fans and most neutral fans that Danny Welbeck is a very lucky man not to be off. Now there were a couple of incidents off the ball as well. such as Wenger and Mourinho, where Wenger went over and pushed Mourinho, and a couple of words were said between them. I honestly think Wenger will probably get punished for, touching Mourinho, pushing him, whatever you want to call it. And I think the fans obviously loved it, but you can't do that, Wenger. And I love you and all, but you can't be going around pushing managers and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what it was. And another off the field thing was that the Arsenal fans brought in flares. That's what was rumoured to be why the match, started 15 minutes late. And it was between Arsenal fans brought in flares or it was Chelsea are low on staff. If it was the flares, I'm just going to say grow up, Arsenal fans. You saw what Galatasaray did to our stadium the other day. Why would you go as far as that to do that? The people, if it is true, the people who had done it should be banned from Arsenal games for life, in my opinion. Anybody to do something stupid like that after, the criticising and everything of us we did for Galatasaray for doing it. It was just ridiculous. Overall, what do we need to improve? Now, Santi Cazorla come off, which was a real surprise to many of us, but I think he was one of the pinpoint men in our squad today. He was fantastic. Oxlade-Chamberlain come on, he made a bit of a difference, but the one man we need to sort out is Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil, I'm not blaming it all on him today, but because people like, I don't think Sanchez performed as good as he should have. Welbeck didn't perform as good as he should have. Many of our players didn't perform as good as he should have. But I think Ozil needs improving. We need to find out what's wrong with him. I think it's just because he isn't getting the support he had at Real Madrid. And it's sort of depressing because he's a world-class player, but he's acting like a player who can barely make the West Ham squad at the moment. And we need to sort that out. Possibly put him more in a central role, or maybe develop him into some new role. I don't know. Wenger, or maybe even drop him for a few games. But it seems like Wenger loves him too much because he is his biggest signing of all time. So I think Wenger doesn't really want to, just drop him because he's having a few. Well, I won't say few, a lot of bad games. But the main thing I think we need to change. Now, people were complaining about us getting a holding midfielder. I'm content with how that midfield was today. What we need is a centre back, and people aren't realising this. Koscielny, I don't think that he's cut out to be in our squad. It's a personal opinion. People will argue against me, obviously, because Koscielny is a favourite to the fans. But let's be honest here. Koscielny gives away most of the penalties. He's always the one to get booked first. He is always the one to give most of the goals away by his mistakes. We need a defender to go with Mertesacker, who's like Koscielny, but won't do these mess-ups. And the fans are complaining we need a holding midfielder to go back and help them. Well, I was happy with how we played today with our midfielders. It was just that our centre-backs are just terrible. Kieran Gibbs, people were saying about him last season. I think Kieran Gibbs has matured brilliantly. I thought he was brilliant against Chelsea. He was our only good player. I'm going to go that far as saying I think Kieran Gibbs was our only good player because he kept on going forward and he would come back and he stopped a few of the chances Chelsea should have and could have scored in. But the centre-backs we really need to improve on. Once Debussy's back, our right-back position is content. It's the centre-backs. We haven't got any good competition. Koscielny and Mertesacker know they're going to get in every week. We need competition to make Koscielny improve. We need somebody to get in to challenge for that spot. But Wenger, obviously, I'm not sure if he's going to do that in January, but I think that is the most reasonable thing to do. So, Chelsea's overall game, I must admit, they were fantastic, as usual. Will they go the whole season undefeated? I can't see it. At the moment they look it, but I think somewhere along the line they're going to slip up. Even Mourinho agrees. I think they're just going to mess up in one game, give a goal away, and they're not going to be able to get it back somehow. So that's my overall review of the game. Arsenal fans, don't be angry at this too much because it's Chelsea at the end of the day. But I would say be a bit worried because we obviously need to improve in front of goal. If you don't agree with what I've said so far about getting a new centre-back, dropping Ozil possibly for Hull, then it's up to you. It's my personal opinion. I thank you for watching. I've been Greatest. Goodbye.